Now is I'm just going to go ahead and do a little training on how I process my white background photos, and I'll do just like a couple quick photos. Um, First off, as you can see here, I'm going to show you a little bit also of how I've organized my projects. It's a really efficient way and very easy way. It's kind of like how difficult do I want to make it and how efficient do I want to make it? Because yeah, I could go more in depth and do more steps, and that would be maybe more efficient, but it might not be as easy also. And so I'm trying to keep things semi-simple so I can be most effective with my time. So first off, in my Google Drive, I work on everything in Google Drive, and that way you can see it syncs up here to the cloud. It backs it up. I put all my projects on my computer as I work on them. And then when I'm done, while they're being worked on, they're not only being worked on, they're not only on my computer, they're also backed up to the cloud. And then when I'm done, I then put them on my external hard drive, which you can see right here. I have my archive drive here, and I've got a work folder. And you can see that when I have finished projects, I have like my commercial projects. And let's say I've got um, something here from this Tanya, and I have an assets folder which has the lifestyle photos and the white background photos. I have the projects folder. This can be slightly messy. It doesn't have, I try to keep it semi organized, but sometimes it can be slightly messy because that's just kind of where I worked on everything. And then I have my renders. And then when I finish up a folder, when I do my renders, I have um, and you may not even care about this because you'll most likely be sending me your unwatermarked versions. It's going to have the disposable dinnerware set here and then a watermarked version as well. It's exactly the same. It's just watermarked. Anyway, and so in that I've got infographics that I did for them, lifestyle photos that I did for them, and then the white background. Anyway, once that's there, I then delete it from my computer, my laptop, my personal computer, and I'm done. So let's go ahead and we'll go into this project here. We're just going to work on just a couple photos within a project, and I'll show you kind of the white background process I do. So I have a current project right here. In current projects, I have one that is a hanging closet organizer. And in that, I create an assets folder. And actually, let's blow this up nice and big so you can actually see everything. So within the assets folder, I have lifestyle photos, and I can select them all real quick right here, and you can kind of see. Oh, there's all the lifestyle photos that I got of that project, all organized and everything. Boom. And then I have my white background photos. Boom. And we're going to work on these white background photos. I'm just going to work on a couple of them for now. I don't want to work on all of them yet. So what I'm going to do is I have them all selected. I'm on a Mac, so I can just drag this right down to Lightroom. And that'll take just a few seconds to open up, hopefully. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. And I'm going to import these. There's a project that was worked on recently. Actually, not by me, but my sister. She did a really good job. So I'm going to import all the photos. And the first thing I do is I go through and I rate every single photo that I'm going to work on. At first, you'll see down here it's organized by capture time, and we're in the library view. I actually like to work on everything in the develop view, and then I go back when I want to make a few changes to things. I'm going to kind of zoom towards the end here, because that's when I know, like, hey, everything started looking kind of finished and good. And when I did this, I did a bracketed, I did bracketed settings. Anyway, so I'm just going to I like to mark mine, I like to rate them. So I just hit the 5 key and I marked it as a 5. So it's a 5-star. You can go here and you can mark this one as a 3-star because you're like, I think I like it, but I don't like it as much as that one. However you want to do it. But when I finish everything up, I have 5 stars is what I export. And then, yeah, I'm going to come all the way down to the end, and I'm just going to grab a couple more images. So there's that one right there. We're going to make that a 5-star. And then we got this other one that has a divider in it. I'm going to make that a 5-star. And let's find some that have some clothes in them. That one right there. We'll make that a 5-star. Okay? All right. And I'm going to go back to library now. And I'm going to move this to rating. I'm going to organize it by rating. That way it pushes everything to the first few images. All the 5 stars are right up here up front. So that makes things kind of nice. And I'm going to go back to develop. Now I'm kind of cruising through this. I'm going to redo this video soon, but I just wanted to make sure that I at least got something out because a few of you have questions, and anyway, I just want to make sure. So, and the first thing I'm going to do real quick on this is I'm going to make it square. Most of the images are going to be square. So we're going to make that square. And after speaking with a lot of sellers on Amazon, and I'm going to see the vertical lines here. See how this isn't quite vertical? You can tell that this, we want to make that parallel with that front corner. Usually, you can always change it if you want, but most of my clients also, they want these things to take up the whole white background image almost completely. So we're going to bring that all the way in, almost. And you can see because of the lens I was using and everything, it's not like perfectly straight everywhere. So I might bring it back this way just a hint. I don't know. We're trying to find a happy medium so it looks good, but that's pretty good. That's a pretty good image right there. When people are looking at it on their phone, they're going to be like, oh yeah, it looks good. And one thing that I do to all my photos first is I always do noise reduction. So I go down to effects down here, and down here under gain, wait a minute, where is it? That's grain, sorry. Oh, not under effects. Here, under detail. Oops, edit that. I always go about 30. 30 is the safe spot to go, in my opinion, with Sony cameras, with my A7 III series stuff. 30 is the best to go to, especially if there's people in them. If you go over 30 with people, you start to make them look slightly plastic. But with products, I could take this one to 50, but my ISO wasn't that high on this one. I just like to still do noise reduction because it kind of cleans things up a little bit. Takes out some of the imperfections sometimes, and it kind of gives it just kind of a more perfect look, which some people kind of want that, but they don't have the money to get 3D renders, so they do photos. So anyway, I'm going to do that first. And this image already, I mean, looking at it, it's, God, that white background is very, very white, and it's looking pretty good. I usually don't do like touch-ups like spot removal and stuff yet, but with this, a lot of times, sometimes I'll look at and see what auto does. Okay, it screwed it up in my opinion. I mean, it looks fine, but kind of screwed it up. I'm going to throw in a little bit of contrast. I'm going to go like 25%. I think that looks pretty good, but I'm going to bring those shadows up a tiny bit because it went a little bit dark there. Maybe not much, just a tiny bit, just so I can kind of see something like that. Sometimes I will hold shift and then click on vibrance and saturation, and that will just kind of put it where it thinks it should be. Holding down shift and hitting some of these is good. Clarity for white background can be very useful at times. So let's grab that guy and bring it way up. See, it kind of punches things a little bit. It brings in kind of like contrast, but just clarity. See, you can soften it out, make it look like they used to make the soap operas, or you can bring it all the way in and make it look like a war movie. We're just going to bring it up a smidge. I'm thinking, yeah, right in there. Let's see what 25% looks. Actually looks pretty good. I'm actually going to bring those shadows up just a tiny bit more. Maybe go to 20. Actually, I think 15. And that's just my personal preference at this time. It could change at any time. And this is me with my new screen, and I'm not really used to it yet. Sometimes I'll hold shift and I'll hit blacks. I took them a little bit too black. I don't need them to be fully black. Whites, that takes it to 21. I think I'm actually going to do that. I'll probably make, well, let's see. What's it doing to the edges of things? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. It almost cuts it out perfectly. I'm still going to take it into Photoshop when I'm done. But yeah, I held down shift and I double tapped on the white word and it brought it up to plus 21. Highlights, this is where you can really screw things up. You hold shift and you hit that one, it's going to drop it every time. It actually looks pretty good, and I might just take it down to like minus 25 or minus 50. I always go with rounded numbers because I'm weird, but I'm thinking minus 25 because it looks pretty good anyway. Anyway, this is mostly done. Now what we're going to do is a little bit of spot removal. I have some dirt on my screen, so I can't really tell. Oh, nope, that's not dirt. But, I mean, I barely noticed that little tiny thing there, but it only takes a second to bring in their spot removal and just boop. And now you can't see it at all. And there is one thing that I can see, is this guy right back here. Now you're going to notice the back of this product is slightly, and I mean slightly out of focus. Oh, and when you do a spot right here, sometimes it won't make a perfect edge, and so you're going to like move this thing around. You can move the spot around. Be like, oh, I need to fix that. Oh, there you go. Now it's perfect. But like I was saying, the back of this is slightly out of focus. What I did is I shot this, I believe, at an, yep, you can see up here, f8. When I'm doing products and I'm kind of zoomed in on those products, an f2.8 is probably the worst thing you can do. f8 to f11 is what I'm noticing is the best. So use some good lights and bump that f-stop up a little bit and zoom in and get that product looking really good. So I'm just cleaning up a couple spots. Right there, I can see that imperfection there, and I just want to fix it because, you know, the client, even though they sent me something that's not perfect, they want it to look perfect. Okay? And if I wanted to be really nitpicky and get rid of that seam, I would, but you know what? No, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna adjust my crop just a smidge. I'm gonna just go back that way a little bit. I don't know. It was almost perfect. It's good enough. So that's pretty much all I'm doing with that image right there. So let's take a look at the next one. Next one's the same thing, but it has that divider in it. Oh, you can see my my notifications coming in. That's great. And that one, and then this one. So we're just going to go through real quick. Now, the cool thing is I can now select all of these. I'm not going to select the last one, no. Well, actually I will, and then I'll just fix the crop. Select them all, sync them, and I'm going to sync everything except for the crop. I will do the crop, and then but I want to turn off local adjustments because brush, graduated filters, radial filters, stuff like that, and the spot removal, because yeah, then you'll have spot removal going in the wrong place. And I hit synchronize. Does that pretty quick. Now, yeah, it zoomed in like too far on the rest of these. This one's pretty close. All I'm going to do is just adjust it a little bit, and maybe adjust that a smidgen. Boom. Bring it over a little bit more. And I'm doing this kind of quick, so this is more for just the idea. Then that looks pretty good. And let's go to this one. This one's kind of way off. We're going to just bring that out. Bring it over a little bit. Adjust that front edge. Boom. And this one, the white's definitely, just because those t-shirts are a little bit bright. I think I was actually at a different shutter speed on this one. This one's not quite perfect. I'm going to just go exposure 0.1 because to brighten up some of the bag, and then I'm going to bring the whites down to negative 50. Actually, I'm just going to go to like negative 75. Or the highlight, sorry. And the white point here, let's readjust that because actually I'm going to leave it where it was. Anyway, usually you want all these exactly the same. I picked the wrong photo. Don't worry about it. Now this one, we don't want it square, of course. This one, we're going to keep it as the original. And we're just going to zoom in. Well, a lot of the work on this one's going to be done in Photoshop. And I'm not going to do all of it because I don't have the time right now. But, and this one, I needed a bigger studio for this one, so please don't judge me too harshly. But that's pretty close. I'm not going to do the spot removal on all of these right now. I just mostly want to show you kind of what I do. So first off, what I do right now, I select all the photos. Let's pretend I'm done with Lightroom. I select all the photos that I just did, and then I go back to Library. You have to do this in Library. You can't do it in Develop. And you hit Command S. If you hit Command S, did you see what it did up in this upper left corner? It saves all the metadata. Boom, saves metadata. I'm going to go out of this real quick, go back to Finder, and you can see the files that it wrote. So only the photos that I just edited, it took those and created an XMP file. What that file is that file is all your settings in one for that one photo that you did. All your edits that you did are right there. It's not baked into the actual file itself. It's just a little file that it puts right next to it in the same folder. As long as that XMP file is next to that image in Finder or wherever you're at, next to it in that same folder, it will apply those edits when you open up in Photoshop or Lightroom. So it's pretty sweet. It's kind of like all your edits right there. So I'm going to, so that's what I did right there. Sorry, my wife was just calling to me. She doesn't know I'm on the video, doing the video right now. So she might walk in and start talking. So I saved all that. Now, I'm going to go to File, export these, and I have print quality. So I have 3 presets that I use all the time. I have print quality, and what this one is it's the highest quality you can do. I put it at the max resolution. I even pushed it to 300, even though it usually says 240. I pushed the quality to 100, and what I did is I say after exporting, show in Finder. So I hit, and then I saved that. I put add and saved it as print quality as a user preset. So I'm going to hit export that, and it's going to put it right there on my desktop, those 4 images that I just did. We're going to pretend these are the only 4 I'm going to do, and those will export, and there they are. They're right there on the desktop. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my project right here in Google Drive, my current projects. This is my hanging closet organizer, and I'm going to create a folder called, and I have this right here, or you can control click right here, new folder, and we're going to call this one project. This is where I work on my project, and I'm going to create another new folder called 1-from Lightroom. 1 means that's the first step, and I'm going to take these photos and I'll put them right there. 1 from Lightroom. Boom, there they are. And let's pretend we're just done. I made sure that I hit Command S and it saved all that metadata. I can do it again. It doesn't matter if I do it again. I'm going to close Lightroom for now, okay? Let's pretend that step is done. I'm going to now go into here and I'm going to take these 4 photos and I'm going to pull them down into Photoshop. It'll open them all up nicely in their own little windows. And I'll show you just the basic steps. I may only do this to 1 or 2 of them. I might not do it to all of them just because once you do one, you kind of get it. The one we worked on, I think, was that one right there. That's our kind of most polished one. So I'm going to pull this background down as a new layer, and I'm just going to kind of hide that guy. I like to keep him as a backup of in case I screw things up and I need to start over. And so I have this new layer. I'm going to create another new layer, and I'm going to pull it right under that layer and make sure it is perfectly white. Get the bucket and drop it there. And one thing that I always do is I like to use the, what is this one, the polygon lasso tool. And I just kind of go around the product like this. And I make sure, I'm making sure that everything outside of this product is completely deleted. So I don't accidentally have like a slightly not white edge anywhere. And then I go to select inverse and I delete that. Boom. D. And I mean, this background was actually pretty dang good. It was an easy one to work with. You can tell that like you can barely even see that any of it was I mean, it's just barely off. It's not bad at all. And then, oops, what I'm going to do is there's multiple ways you can do this to where you can erase the background. Right here, you've got multiple things. You have the magic eraser tool, which is pretty awesome. I'm actually going to hide that background tool, so the white background for now. And if you select this, you can also put your tolerance, which that is really high. I think like 25 is normal. But anyway, I can just select that background. Look at that. For this product, that deleted the background perfectly. That doesn't always work. Let's pretend it didn't work. I can also select the background erase tool, and I can make this as big or small as I want. And right now I have my tolerance also at 25. 25 is a good one to work with. I'll sometimes go down to 5 or 10. Sometimes I'll boost it to 40 or 50. Usually nothing other than that. And there's multiple ways to use this tool. Right now I have it set to, sample once. You can do continuous. I've had issues with that. I usually end up just going to sample once, and then I'll do like the top and then the bottom, or this side and then that side. So sample once, find edges, tolerance 25, and then truthfully, I need to do more research on this. I'm not sure what this angle thing means really. So anyway, you can just kind of erase that. If you touch anywhere down here, it will start to erase things in there if they're within that 25%. Anyway, I don't need to do it like this because it worked perfectly fine with, and sometimes you need to go over things twice just because it's like, oh, I moved too quickly. But anyway, it did it perfectly fine before. Anyway, that image is already done. We'll try and do one more of these. Let's go. So I'm not even gonna hit save or anything. I'm just gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna go to this next one real quick. So this one right here, let's do this one real quick. Now I'm gonna be doing more to this one later on, because I need to put. I'm gonna be erasing this pole and then adding a piece back in so you can see the back side of this. I took another image to put there on the back side of this flap here. Anyway, but for now, let's try and do this, okay? So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to get my polygon lasso tool, and I can zoom in on this so I can kind of get things slightly where I want them, because I don't want to have to erase like everything. And while you're doing this, I'm going to actually scroll down, do that. It doesn't need to be perfect. Scroll up, go here, there, boom, select inverse, delete, boom. Okay, and then Command D to deselect everything, or however you want to do that on a PC. And then Magic Erase tool. Let's see what this does, because it's always the first one you want to do because it seems to be like magical. Boom. That did a pretty good job. Let's zoom in and see if it messed up any of our edges. Sometimes it will put it like a pixelated edge there. Boom. Now, you'll see these little spots that it left. If you use the Magic Eraser tool and you do that, make sure you delete those spots later, okay? Boom. It's actually finding the edges very well. I'm actually kind of impressed. I guess I did an okay job taking the photo. But you can see here that I'm going to have to clean a few things up. Boom. Okay? Now, if I do that, it's going to delete that. So we don't want to do that. We're going to use now, and we can't use a background erase tool to get rid of that black because the edge is black. We are going to use normal eraser tool. Okay? And I'm going to zoom out. Yeah, I was going to say that's huge. Use my little brackets on the side, shrink this eraser down. Now, my eraser, I have it not with a perfectly hard edge. If you look at it, you can see it's got a soft edge here. I'm going to bring it down though. I want to make it small but I don't want to erase things. And so what I'm going to do, you could drag this. Oops, I had it at 10%. We're going to make our opacity at 100. And what I'm going to do, you could drag this and try to like keep your hand steady, but then you'll probably screw up a little bit. What I like to do, and it's a cool little trick, is I hold shift between each click. So I'll click like right here, and then I'll hold shift, and I don't want to go over it because I have a soft edge, it'll erase part of it. And then I hold shift and it'll do a straight line. Boom, straight line. Boom, straight line. And if I get this close to things, I can kind of be like, oh, say I couldn't really see it perfectly. That's okay. Boom, boom, boom. You see that? Now I'm going to go over to this side real quick. Now this one, this is going to be hard. We're going to be redoing this one later. So for now, let's just kind of, that looks like it's about the curve. I'm definitely off, but boom, you know, and let's fix that. Boop, boop, boop. And then as you get to straighter points, you can kind of space out your erasing points a little bit more. And then, yeah, I'm just going to kind of erase that like that. Now I can make my, I can do multiple things. I'm just going to get a bigger eraser and just kind of come in. I don't want to go that big though. And just kind of, because I don't want to erase everything I just did or make it worse. And sorry if I ramble a bit. I haven't done a tutorial video in a long time. So you're probably laughing at the stuff I'm saying right now. Man, he really like, he's so split-minded. Yep, I am. Boop. And a lot of these things you may already know, but thank you for sticking with me on this. Boom. Okay. That's looking pretty good, but I do want to check all my edges and make sure like I don't have any of those these little guys. See that? And I could make this as big as I want as long as I'm not erasing any of the edges. Now right here, I want to clean that up a little bit. And actually, I'm going to Command Z, I'm going to make that smaller and do it again. And yeah, I mean, this is zoomed way in, so I'm actually being a little bit on the nitpicky side, but I want this to be quality as well. So we want people to be like, oh yeah, your white background is awesome. There's no imperfections, there's no problems with it. And as you can see, I'm just kind of cruising through this. It's not perfect because this is a tutorial video. I hope you do a better job when you do these yourself. And you could use like the polygon lasso tool or something and just go around the edges of this thing. I've done that many times too, and just like deleted everything else around it, zoomed in more or whatever. But yeah, I'm just doing it like this real quick because I'm lazy. All right, now that is practically done. The only thing I would do now is I do have a separate image where we had this without the pole holding it up, and I'm gonna composite that right on top of that, but I'm not going to do it right now. Now let's pretend I did every single one of these. I didn't do all of them. I guess I could do these ones really quick because man, they're going to be quick. So we go here, white background, throw that guy right there, boom. Make sure that all the edges are going to be perfectly white because I really don't want to screw that up. When I haven't done this in the past, I have uploaded this to a site with a white background and then seen, oh man, that magic eraser or whatever, it didn't get rid of everything, and it just really makes you upset. Delete, Command D, and now we're going to do that magic eraser tool because I think it'll just do perfectly fine. Yeah, and you know what? Look, it didn't do it perfectly. Didn't do it perfectly on that edge. I bet you the background eraser tool is going to do a better job. Watch this. Oh yes, much better. You know what? Let's do this one with the background erase tool. Oops. And we'll just go around the entire thing real quick. But the one thing you'll notice here with the background erase tool, it cleans things up nicely, and it's okay to have a little bit of a shadow around your whole thing, but you don't want that hard edge. You'll see right here, it didn't erase it perfectly. It's got a little bit, you can see that edge there, especially if you delete, well, not if you delete that, but you can see that edge there. So what I'll do now is then I'll take the eraser, and this just depends on the product. I'm doing this now because, anyway, I do this in other projects, especially if they have a white background. And then, yeah, I'm just kind of going around this. Oops, you don't want to do that. So see that where you kind of erased that? I'm going to make that a little bit smaller, keep my distance a little bit. You can't even see that I did that. Boom. There's a little bit of an edge there. It's hard to see, but it's there. And then, boom. Now, it kind of erased that a little bit. Sometimes it's okay as long as it's super slight. I still don't like it when it happens at all. So we're going to do this twice. Boom. Okay? That one's pretty much done. Let's do the last one real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Sorry, I do a lot of booming. It's kind of annoying. You'll probably get annoyed with me as I do these tutorials. But anyway, it's entertaining, right? Probably not. Boom. Okay. Inverse, delete, boom. Now this one's going to have more of a gray area there, but we'll see how that magic eraser tool works. Pretty good, but it did that right there. And that right there can be a pain in the butt. Let's see what it does. See, once I selected that one, it went way too far. So I'm actually going to undo this completely. This is one where I'm going to use the background erase tool. I'm going to do the bottom half and then the top half, and then I'm going to go through and clean things up. So we've got that bottom half right there. Now I'm going to do the top half, and then we're going to get rid of that hard edge. And only where the dot hits is where it's actually going to erase stuff. So I don't want to go over the gray part of the bag. All right, now much better, especially in here. Now I'm going to use the normal eraser, and I'm going to keep it at this size and see how I do. And just kind of go around those edges. And I might have to shrink it down as I get up here, because, yeah, I can see there's a little bit of an edge. Boom. Okay, all that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to kind of go over a few spots. I can see that there's a little bit of, like, it's almost noisy looking. And dirty looking, in a sense. And this side, you can see that line just a bit. We want to get rid of that. We're going to go, I'm going to make this slightly bigger now, so I don't have to do as much work, because I'm lazy. Boom. Let me go back over that a little bit. And if it lightens it up a smidge, that's not the end of the world. I mean, but we do want to keep away from that as much as we can, because that will, it's kind of it just can ruin things a little bit. As you can see, there's a little bit of a little like dark halo around this. I'm just going to make my brush slightly big, but not big. It might have erased a little bit there, but you can't see it when you zoom out. If you can't see it when you zoom out, that's safe. All right, everything's done. We got all 4 images. They're pretty much done. This one's not done, but we're going to pretend it's done. Now a little trick is, you have all these little tabs open in Photoshop. You can go File, and you can export each one at a time, or you can go down to Scripts, not Automate, but Scripts, and go Image Processor. Use Open Images. I selected that. I'm not selecting a folder. Now I'm going to select a folder to put this in. So I'm going to go back to my Google Drive, current projects, the Hanging Closet Organizer project, and now I'm going to create the second folder, to-from Photoshop. Create, open, okay. It's going to save it as a JPEG at the quality 12, that's the highest you can go. Save as PSD, maximum compatibility, okay. And I'm going to hit run. And it's going to create 2 folders within that folder. One is for PSDs and one is for the JPEGs. So we go here, and there it is. There's the JPEGs, there's the PSDs. Boom, 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 boom. Now we're going to close Photoshop. Now, it's going to freak you out the first time. You're going to go, oh, I'm not saving the PSDs because it actually saved them for me, all my stuff. And so I'm just going to hit quit. Oops, not move. Quit. Don't save. Don't save, don't save, don't save. If you want to save them to keep yourself feeling happy, butterflies, make yourself feel good, go for it. Save it twice. I don't care. But now I'm going to go back to Lightroom with these new JPEGs, because I'm going to export these out in my Adobe size, because this is just kind of the way I found it to be easier and faster. I don't like doing it in Photoshop. So now I'm going to import these guys. Hit Command A, it selects all of them, File, Export, Amazon. I'm just going to put them on the desktop and then move them later. Export. Boom. Now what that export, let me show you what that setting was. So export, what I did with this one, Amazon, sorry, this is, and you probably want to set this up on yours. I like to put it on the desktop and down here, show it in Finder when it's done. And then I just keep everything lowercase, JPEG, limit file size to 3,000 kilobytes, which is 3 megabytes. So that I limit them to 3 megabytes. That's kind of Amazon's thing. Resolution doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, those are selected, and I just have it open up Finder. And if I do that again, it's going to be like, oh, do you want to do this and use unique Finder? I'm just going to overwrite it. I don't need to overwrite it. You don't need to do this twice. That was kind of a waste of time right there. But anyway, so there's the files. So as you can see here, this first image is 2.6 megabytes. None of these should go over 3, 2.3, 2.1, and 2.3. The JPEGs that we brought it from, this first one, as you can see, it's 7.7. That's too big. Amazon doesn't like that. So now I'm going to take those. I'm going to put them in the renders folder. And the renders folder, I'm just going to name it the same thing as the project without my start date. So the way I name my projects is I have a start date. 2019, so 19/12/11. That's when I started working on this project. I think that was probably the day I shot the white background, or that I shot the product. And so I'm going to take that, and I'm going to create a new folder here and name it. Oops, I didn't hit copy. Let's undo that. So Command C, and in my renders, and then this is what I end up sending my client. You don't have to even do this step if you don't want to, if you're sending it to me anyway. But there you go, renders, hanging closet organizer. And then in that folder I have white background. And the reason I write mine this way is because I've sent stuff to China, and if you have dashes or spaces, sometimes things don't work when it's going from Mac to PC to other countries and all kinds of stuff. So you could put a dash if you want. To me, I like to shorten it up, but you can read it just fine if it's capitals with every new word. That's just, anyway. So white background, move those guys to the white background, there you go. And then I'll have another folder in here called, oops, lifestyle. And that will be my other one when it's done. Okay? And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There they are, they're done. If you have any questions, please let me know. Like I say, it's not the hardest process. After I do this, you don't need to hit Command S and save XMP files next to these things because they're JPEGs anyway. I don't even think it will work. So now I'm done with that, and I can just hit quit. I'm done. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. If you have a difficult product, I should have grabbed a difficult product that's on white on white, because those ones can be really difficult. But it's still the same techniques I showed you with deleting. Using that erase tool and just kind of working your way around it. And a lot of times you don't have to do it in the whole, around the entire product. Sometimes it's just sections of it. So anyway, thank you so much, and I will keep you updated with more tutorials on how I organize, how I edit these things, and all that. So thanks.